It's here. I've played it. I've been getting up at 4 in the morning for Elden Ring Nightreign. Hi, chat. Good morning. To say I was hyped for this is an understatement. But could this Soulsborne Battle Royale Fortnite actually deliver? Not feel stale and somehow still be enticing to Elden Ring noobs and pros alike? Well, yeah, kinda. After spending 12 hours or so with the network test this weekend, I have a lot of thoughts. Here's what it's like to play Elden Ring Nightreign. So first, what is it? It's a 3-player co-op PvE roguelike with battle royale elements set in the lands between. You and 2 pals fight enemies and gather gear over the course of 2 in-game days in preparation to fight the big boss on night 3. Is it like Fortnite? A decent amount. You drop in on a battle bus, I mean a spectral avian steed, try to resist and eventually fail in asking where we droppin', boys, and then navigate a pretty geographically dynamic landscape with mantling and sprinting with left stick, and a Super Mondo Omega mega jump. You also open chests and scrounge for weapons and consumables that follow a familiar rarity color scheme. Oh yeah, and an owie purple storm slowly closes in around you. Seriously, dying and dropping your runes in the storm and deciding whether or not to go get them feels very reminiscent of Fortnite. But what this game feels perhaps even more like is Risk of Rain 2, a roguelike PvE shooter where you zoom around, grab a bunch of power-ups and stuff, and fight a couple of big old bosses. And it's got great multiplayer. This is honestly a fantastic game, and if you're just dying waiting for Nightreign to release on May 30th, this could honestly fill the void a little bit. So yeah, this game is like both of those games, really. Like Risk of Fortnite or Fortnite Rain. Wait! Anyway, let's get down and dirty. First, the classes. In the full release, they've said that we'll have 8 heroes or classes. The network test had 4. Each one of these has a distinct starting HP, FP, stamina, etc., in addition to starting sets of gear. They also have various passives and ultimates. Yeah. You heard me. I'll run through each one pretty quick here, but there are plenty of other videos that go into strategy more deeply if you're looking for that. First, there's Wilder. He's the balanced, all-around, jack-of-all-trades character. He gets around with a perhaps Sekiro-inspired grapple hook, although the movement does also remind me of the Fortnite slide. And he has this exploding iron stake move as his ult that's almost a guaranteed poise break. I had a ton of fun with this dude. He's a super solid pickup for beginners because he's got a decent chunk of HP, but he can also attack with a bit of speed. Then there's Birdman, or Guardian, I guess. This is the tank guy. Tons of HP, gets an extra buff when using shields, but he moves quite a bit slower. He starts with the halberd. Was that intentional? And he can do a little gust of wind for an AoE stun. His ult is this super sick dive bomb, and if you hold the ult button after you land, you become invincible and your allies will also get a defense buff. He'll also make you question whether or not you want to become a furry. Duchess. She's sort of a rogue, I guess. I spent the least amount of time with this character, which is shocking, because this is the most Kane Hurst looking ass character I've seen in about 10 years. Compared to the other 2 dudes, she's got a minuscule amount of HP, but she's fast as hell, and she's a really cool time-based move. It shows a sort of echo of something that just happened, and it forces enemies to retake damage they just took. Especially useful after somebody just got a bleed proc or something, for instance. And her ult is this stealth move that applies to the whole squad, which on first thought doesn't seem that useful, but whole ass bosses can just completely lose you when it's activated. Definitely useful for taking a pause to res a teammate, which you do by just fucking bonking them, by the way. And finally, my personal favorite, the recluse. And not just because of those assets. Okay, maybe a little bit because of the assets. No, but this is the spellcaster class. And I was surprised to love this one because I am traditionally a big bonk giant club pizza cutter enthusiast. Witch Mommy is also squishy, but it isn't a huge deal as long as you keep your distance from the fray. Her non-ult ability is called Magic Cocktail, and she absorbs elements from enemies and allies along with a little FP, which is crucial because there aren't any blue flasks in Nightreign. You know what this reminded me of is it's kind of like drawing magic in Final Fantasy VIII, which is a very good video game, by the way. When you've got 3 elements stored up, you can send out a big combo ability. There are apparently 14 different combos. Shout out to Cyrobe for this really neat spreadsheet outlining each one. They can get really cool and flashy, like this blink bolt with an explosion at the end, an auto parry,
Oh, it's auto parry.
A Placidusax nuke? She is truly so fun. Even if she is a lot more difficult to learn and takes a little more thought while you play. It's definitely a new take on casters from Software, and it really works in a game like Nightreign. It disincentivizes spell spam, forces you to play fast, assess the whole battlefield, manage your FP, play aggressive. It's great. Oh, and her ult, which has the coolest animation ever, plants a sigil on enemies that lets you and your allies drain HP and FP on each hit. This spellcaster redesign has me wondering about that magic-focused game that From Software is rumored to be developing. And honestly, it has me feeling a lot more optimistic about it. Anyway, the classes are awesome. And learning how to use them with teammates has been pretty intuitive and really fun. Well, most of the time. I've definitely run into some toxic gamers while being forced to play with randos. Are you serious? Yeah, serves you right, bitch. Fuck you. Whenever I die, my teammates just stand over me and spam block like they're not gonna heal me. Like, fine, I won't help you then. Loser, good luck. Oh, now you realize you need my help, you little shit? Get fucked, loser. Oh my god, no, you're just gonna hit me once. God, you suck. I need more. I need more. Oh, you fuck you! That's so infuriating. Good luck beating the boss by yourself, loser. And Wilder is just standing AFK in the corner. That's like, this is stupid. And even if they aren't toxic, playing with people who run off solo or just aren't playing collaboratively, like they don't keep tabs on their allies' health or whatever, it is really hard. You will not be successful if the three of you log in and play like you're playing 3 individual sessions of Elden Ring. You've got to be pinging that map, baby. Be a good teammate and maybe even step up and be a good leader. Not just telling folks where to go, but making sure your squad is staying together and maybe letting someone have an item that is better for their build. Good teamwork can be really hard, but in Nightreign, it pays off immensely. I'd go so far to say that it is borderline crucial for success. Like, whenever I'd play a game and someone would go rogue, the game would so quickly go off the rails. And truly, this is all made so much easier by playing with people you know in a Discord VC. Being able to chat and coordinate your ults and figure out a plan of attack on the map. It is night and day, see what I did there? Compared to playing with randos without VC. Speaking of the map, it does change occasionally. Locations like Churches of America were shuffled from day 1 to day 2 to day 3 of the test. I thought that was nice. You know, it keeps it fresh. It makes sure you don't run the same routes every drop. And I do wonder down the line how much they'll tweak the maps. Will there be seasons like Fortnite? Maybe new maps based on Liurnia, the mountaintops, or maybe even Noxtella? There's so much room for this game to grow. And let me be so real with you right now. It sickens me to say this, but I would buy skins. But yeah, amidst all the stuff I just discussed, the biggest change from regular old Elden Ring is speed. This game is so fast. Like, yes, the extra fast sprint is there, but even beyond that, there's all these little quality of life shortcuts. Like, you don't have to touch a site of grace to activate it. When you level up, you don't choose specific stats. You just mash buttons and be on your way. When picking up a new weapon, there's these little red or green arrows that let you compare what's better or worse at a glance. There's no gear besides weapons, talismans, or consumables to equip. In fact, there's not even any equip load. There's not even any fall damage. When I first heard about this system, I didn't like it. It sounded so limited, like Elden Ring baby mode. So much of the fun in Elden Ring is slowing down and being thoughtful, fine-tuning my build, my stats, fashion souls. I thought taking that away meant Nightreign wasn't gonna work for me, but in reality, it's the opposite. Having these character classes that you get to gear up with a bunch of cool weapons and passive abilities while throwing equip load and stat requirements to the wind, what I thought would be a limitation ends up being immensely freeing. It allows the game to move lightning quick, which keeps it fun, interesting, and new. I mean, you're fighting a new boss every 5 to 7 minutes. You'll go from Loretta to a Crucible Knight to a Godskin Noble to a Golden Hippo in the time it takes you to order and consume a Crunchwrap Supreme. And all of that, the game running at an insanely fast clip, making split-second decisions on routing and loot and combat, facing off against bosses back-to-back that were previously 50 hours apart, that is what makes this game feel so different. This isn't just Elden Ring with a time limit. It is so mechanically novel, and it is Elden Ring on steroids, and it rules. And I haven't even mentioned fighting Centipede Demon with the DS1 music. I even cut tail? I mean, come on! I do wonder about lore too. Like, Tamura did an interview with Junya Ishizaki, Nightreign's director, and he asked about why they made the choice to include classic bosses like Nameless King or Duke's Dear Freya. Ishizaki said more or less just because it seemed fun. And it is. But like, will this game have lore? Is the whole Night Lord situation this dimensional rift where Dark Souls bosses are leaking into Limveld? What are those colossal beings that amble over to the final boss arena? Why do they go totally tree mode? What's this goop? Why does Morgott, or Fell Omen, show up pursuer style? Why do enemies occasionally hang on to my runes when I die? A thing that's only ever happened in Bloodborne. Why is Ronnie's moon just chilling up there? Why does the sky look like that? Why am I so attracted to Bird Guy? Who knows? I really am dying to see what classic bosses we see in the full release of Nightreign, and I suspect this network test is a tiny sliver of the full game. I played the network test for the original Elden Ring, and that contained only just a little bit of Limgrave.
Yes.
Hello.
Tarnished, are we?
I suppose. So you know they've got a whole bunch of shit up their sleeve for Nightreign. Personally, I'd love to see Quelaag, a couple gargoyles, Siffrin Artorias, Demon of Song, Fume Knight, Dancer, Sister Frida, Gale, Gundyr, and obviously the whole gang from Bloodborne, but I do fear they're locked away in legal prison. Some other stuff I'd love to see in the full release is maybe a little sound cue when my ult is recharged. Before I let you go, I'd love to share some tips and tricks I found while playing Nightreign, partially to help you out when the game releases, and partially because just be cool to see what gets nerfed or buffed or just changed by the time May 30th rolls around. Okay, let's go. Find those poop beetles. They have talismans. Mantle on top of a flame chariot to pop that cork and get an insta-kill. Even if you don't have a weapon directly in your hands, you still get the passive abilities, so it's useful to spend your run filling up those 6 slots and paying close attention to those passives. Relatedly, elemental buffs tied to movement are so broken. The lightning that strikes when you dodge, the ice storm that swirls when you sprint, the beach that makes you old. Oh, sorry, that's something else. The stars that rain down when you walk, these are all very good. Elemental effects in general seem pretty useful too. Like, while Frostbite proc does, eliminate a decent chunk of HP off the bat, people also forget that it increases damage dealt by 20% when the enemy is all chilly. And that adds up quick when there's 3 of you wailing on him. Those weird swirling circles on the map, those are the flight paths of the Spectral Hawks. You can't actually steer the Hawks, although it kind of seems like you should be able to. But you can get off the ride whenever you want. White and occasionally yellow paint will sometimes tell you where to go. Use the sky and the size of the storm as a makeshift clock to assess if you're progressing fast enough. Churches of Marika let you tack on another healing flask. This is super important, and I often start my runs by pinging the nearest church. Those mage towers where you have to break the seal to get in, they always have a guaranteed drop up top. Strange and terrifying clouds of flying ants will descend upon you or appear as a red dot on your map. Kill them all to get a buff. Many or perhaps all of the tunnels connect underground, giving you an alternate route to where you need to go. If you die, you do respawn, but you will lose a level. This gets especially devastating at higher levels when it takes a shit ton of runes to level up. There are a smattering of merchants around, and they do sell physic flasks, but be careful, they're single use. Killing bosses is super important for progression, but so is clearing out adds and encampments. Those runes add up, and they allow you to rise in levels very quickly, which is especially important early game. You can upgrade your weapons, but it seems like you only really need to do it once per run. It wasn't totally clear to me where smithing stones consistently dropped, but there are upgrade locations around most, if not all, merchants, including the one right before the final boss. You'll occasionally see red specters of other players from which you can take loot. I assume these are other real players that have died in other worlds. I had the most success when I got to at least level 12 before the final boss. In my experience, that's a good minimum level to aim for. Be good to yourself and, tell your friends you love them. That's advice for real life and also for Nightreign. That's all I got. And if you're looking for folks to play with, there's a Nightreign channel in my server that folks are already using to group up in. And I'll be playing this on stream this summer too. Also, let me know what you want to see in the full game. Maybe a boss from years past you'd like to see or a hero you'd like to play as. Sound off in those comments. All right, see you soon. Bye.